So let's move on to the next question now, guys. So the next question is that machine A and machine B can produce one widget in 3 hours working together at their respective constant rate. So machine A and machine B can produce one widget in 3 hours working together, right? If the machine A speed were doubled, if the machine A speed were doubled, then the two machines can produce one widget in 2 hours. Then one widget can be produced in 2 hours together, right? And we have to calculate how many hours does it currently take machine A to produce one widget on its own, right? So these are questions which are related to work and time, right? So one thing which you should be particularly careful about in such questions is that you always have to take out everything in 1 hour. Now what I mean by that is, for example, uh, let's suppose that machine A, we talk about machine A, right? So let's assume that it takes A hours for machine A to produce one widget. So machine A takes A hours for one widget, right? So machine A takes A hours for producing one widget. So in 1 hour, how many widgets will the machine A produce? It will produce 1 upon A widget. So basically in 1 hour, the machine A would produce 1 upon A widgets. So what I mean over here is that for all these kind of questions where we have to find out the relationship between work, that is the amount of work done, and the time taken, we always take out it using 1 hour. We always convert everything in 1 hour and then do the question. So that is how the questions are done, right? Similarly, now let's talk about machine B, right? So for example, machine B takes B hours for one widget, right? So in 1 hour, very similar, it will produce how many widgets? 1 upon B widgets. I hope this should be very clear, like no problem in this. So basically machine B will produce 1 upon B widgets in 1 hour. I hope this should be fine, right? Now tell me one thing, if machine A and machine B work together, then in 1 hour, how many widgets will they produce? So if machine A and machine B work together, then they will produce 1 upon A plus 1 upon B. These many widgets in how many hours? In 1 hour. I hope this should be clear. So machine A produces 1 upon A widgets in 1 hour, right? And machine B produces 1 upon B widgets in 1 hour. So when they work together, they will produce 1 upon A plus 1 upon B widgets in 1 hour, right? I hope this should be fine, right? Okay. So I hope you have got the hang of it, that how do we solve such questions, right? So now I can basically write the direct result of it, which tells us that for machine A and machine B, so 1 upon A plus 1 upon B widgets in 1 hour, right? So I hope this result should be absolutely fine. Now what were we given? We were given that when machine A and machine B work together, they produce one widget in 3 hours. We are given that when they work together, they produce one widget in 3 hours. So in 3 hours, they produce one widget. This is given, right? Again, what did I tell you? I told you that we calculate everything in terms of 1 hour, right? So in 3 hours, they produce one widget. So machine A and B can produce one widget in 3 hours when working together. So when they work together, in 3 hours, they produce one widget. So in 1 hour, how much will they produce? They will produce 1 upon 3 widgets. I hope this should be clear, right? But we also know from the above that when machine A and machine B work together, they produce 1 upon A plus 1 upon B widgets in 1 hour. And this is given in the question that 1 upon 3 widgets is produced in 1 hour when they work together. So this means that 1 upon A plus 1 upon B is equals to 1 upon 3. So this becomes your first equation. I hope this should be fine, right? So what did we do over here is that we converted everything to 1 hour. So in 3 hours, the machine A and machine B can produce one widget. This was given. So in 1 hour, they can produce 1 upon 3 widgets, right? And we calculated previously that when machine A and machine B can work together, they will produce 1 upon A plus 1 upon B widgets in 1 hour. So we made them both equal. So this is the first equation, right? Now the second condition is that if the machine A speed were doubled, if we double the speed of machine A, right? So initially what did we take? If you remember, initially we said that machine A takes A hours to produce one widget. This is what we said, right? This is what we said, that machine A takes A hours to produce one widget. So in 1 hour, it will produce 1 upon A widget. And similarly, machine B will produce 1 upon B widget. So total, they will produce 1 upon A plus 1 upon B widgets, right? So this is what we assumed in the beginning. Now it is saying that machine A speed is doubled. So if the speed is doubled, then obviously it will take half the amount of time. If you're doing something very quickly, you will take less time, right? So if something speed is doubled, so obviously it will take half the amount of time. So initially, if the machine A was taking A hours, now the machine A will be taking how many? A upon 2 hours, because the speed is doubled. So now the second case, so machine A takes A upon 2 hours to produce one widget, right? So again, we always find everything in 1 hour. So in 1 hour, how much will it produce? 1 divided by A upon 2. So 2 upon A. 2 upon A widget. I hope this should be clear, right? So basically in 1 hour, earlier it was 1 upon A. Now it has become 2 upon A, right? I hope this is clear. Initially, the machine A took A hours to complete one widget. So in 1 hour, it will be 1 upon A. Now, the question says that we have doubled the speed. If we have doubled the speed, that means the time taken will be half. So now it will take A upon 2 hours to produce one widget, and we calculate everything in 1 hour. So in 1 hour, it will be 1 divided by A upon 2. So 2 will go up, so it will become 2 upon A widgets, right? So instead of 1 upon A, now it will be 2 upon A. I hope this is absolutely clear, right? Okay. So what this basically means is that so this becomes 2 upon A, right? Plus this we don't know anything about B. So that means the B speed remains same. So this will remain 1 upon B only. Why? Because in the second case, we were told that A speed has doubled. So A speed has doubled, so A will take half the amount of time. That is why it is 2 upon A. Earlier it was 1 upon A, now it is 2 upon A, right? But for B, things remain same because in the question it is not mentioned that B speed has doubled or anything like that. So B remains the same, right? Equals to. Now it is given that when the machine A speed is doubled, they could produce one widget in 2 hours. So basically in 2 hours, earlier in 3 hours they were producing one widget. So it was 1 upon 3. Now they are producing one widget in 2 hours. So in 2 hours, they are producing one widget. So in 1 hour, they'll produce 1 upon 2 widget, right? So this will become equal to 1 upon 2. Why? Because initially they were taking 3 hours to produce one widget. So in 1 hour, it will be 1 upon 3, right? Now in 2 hours, they are producing one widget. So in 2 hours, they are producing one widget. So in 1 hour, they'll produce 1 upon 2, right? So this will become 1 upon 2. I hope this is pretty clear. So this becomes the second equation. Now, I don't think there should be any problem. You can simply solve these two equations, right? And you can find out the value of A from here. So you will get your answer. So I don't think I uh, should feel the need to solve, because this should be pretty simple. I've explained you how to solve this question. So the summary of the question is that whenever you get any such question, you have to understand and think that you have to convert everything into 1 hour. So in 1 hour, how much of the work can be done? So you convert everything into 1 hour and then you solve the question, and then you can do it very easily. Right now it seems to be big, but once you practice it a couple of times, you will be able to do it within a few seconds, like within 20-30 seconds. So I hope this should be fine. So the conclusion is to convert everything in 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, right? And then you solve the question. So I hope this should be clear.